and thank you for watching the Diabetes Empowerment Summit. I am Kiana Drew, your co-host for the 2020 Diabetes Empowerment Summit. And today we have a special guest who also happens to be a really good friend of mine. We go way back.
Yes.
Leonard GLC Harris. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Hey, what's up? Well, I'm so happy to be here. It's such an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure.
Yep, and I'm so happy that you're here too. And thank you so much for taking the time out, because I know there are people here who are watching who need to see someone who is living and thriving despite living with type 1 diabetes. And you're someone who has been diagnosed for some time now. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Years.
Man, I was diagnosed in 1992.
Wow.
Yeah, so what's that, 28 years?
Is
that what that is?
It's 28 years, because I'm 20 years.
Yeah, I'm 28 years in.
Look at you, looking amazing.
Yeah, man, you know what's so crazy, Kiana? People, they say, I often hear the term, like when I see the commercials on TV, they say, are you or anybody you know suffering from diabetes? I've never suffered from diabetes because of the fact that with having diabetes, man, I have such a positive outlook on life from having diabetes. And it makes me take extra special care of my body and my mind, you know?
Yep, that's one thing. Like, you get that diagnosis, and you were diagnosed as a child, but people who
yes.
later in life, like myself, I was diagnosed a few days before my 21st birthday. So, wow. You know, it can be when you're older, you're thinking like this is daunting, but as the years have gone on, I see everything good that diabetes has brought out of me. And if it wasn't diabetes, I wouldn't have been challenged in a way to rise up. You know?
Yes, I love it. Yes, that's how I view it. That is factual and actual.
Yep. So for some of you guys who are out there watching and you don't know much about GLC's backgrounds, I'm going to let you guys know this is an amazing artist.
Oh, thank you.
You're amazing. I've gotten the chance to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of the original founding members of Kanye West's Good Music label.
Mm-hmm.
Also has performed on 2 Grammy Award Winning albums, which is the College Dropout and Late Registration. He has written and performed on 5 Grammy nominated projects, worked with Chance the Rapper, DJ, the Chicago Kid, Kanye West, NoID, John T.I. The list goes on. Myself, Kiki Drew.
You? Yes, I have. Yes.
His name is Kiki Drew for you guys who don't know. But yeah.
You sure can sing too. You sure can sing.
Thank you. But yes, you've done so much, and that is just, I'm just finding out now that you are a paint. That painting right behind you is something that you.
Oh yeah, this is Queen Hatshepsut. She ruled Egypt during the 18th dynasty, which was one of the most prominent dynasties. It was a story's kind of it'll be strange to some because during that time, a lot of the women leaders, they were erased from history. So she asked that in all the textbooks or all the scriptures that were written, and when they did art, most of the art that they did of her, they painted her as a man, just so that she wouldn't be erased from history. But she was a woman, and she ruled one of the most prominent dynasties in all of Egypt, or what at the time was called Kemet, ancient Kemet at the time.
Wow. See, I didn't know that. You're giving me a history lesson.
Oh, there it is, man. I paint pictures like this because they are inspiring. And, you know, when I wake up and I walk into my living room and I see this, I feel like I have work to do. You know, I have greatness to obtain because one of my ancestors or just someone of my complexion, they obtain greatness. And I know that there's a possibility as well as a probability that I can do the same.
That's right. And that's why it's so important for us to share our stories. But
absolutely.
And especially myself being someone of color, Black people, you know, we are doing so much. We are in the diabetes community too, even though we don't see as many people of color in the diabetes community.
Mm-hmm.
We're here and we're living and thriving as well, from all walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to touch on your diagnosis. How old were you when you were diagnosed?
Okay, so when I was diagnosed, I was at the age of 14. I was for a few weeks, it probably was like maybe 2 weeks, I began to feel sluggish. Like I played basketball every day with my friends, and I began to feel sluggish, and I began to lose a lot of weight. And my sister, who was my legal guardian, because my mom had died 2.5 years prior to me being diagnosed, my sister, she would say, hey, let's go to the doctor. You want to go to the doctor? You want to go to the doctor? And I kept saying, I'm not going. I'm 14, talking about I'm not going to no doctor. The reason why I was saying that I wasn't going to the doctor and I didn't want to go was because my mom died in a hospital, and it created like a phobia for me, you know, as a kid, witnessing my mom die in the hospital. So I was like, I'm not going to no hospital. So my sister, she bared with me. Man, after those 2 weeks, I was to a point where my tongue was almost hard as wood. And I just finally gave in. I told my sister, I was like, I need to go. She left work early. She took me to the hospital. By the time I got there, I was still a bit, alert and aware. But then I passed out in the hospital. And I woke up a few days later, and the doctor came into the room and said that I was pronounced legally dead. My blood sugar was at 890, like 92, something like that. They said that my heart had stopped, and I was hooked up to I woke up with all these wires in me. I felt like I was one of the X-Men. You know, I was like, oh, shit, I thought I was going to be Spider-Man or something. He was like, he came in, he told me, I don't remember the scientific name for diabetes, keto something. He came in there and told me I had it. And I sat there at 14. I looked him in the eyes. He was like, man, you were legally dead. I was like, whoa. So right then and there, I felt empowered from that moment that I died and came back. You know, I was like, oh, shit. You know, it felt really good. But the fact that this was a uncharted territory for me. He then told me that my pancreas was completely malfunctioned and I would be on insulin for the rest of my life. He then had a lady come in, and I don't know exactly what her job title was. She had like the syringe and the insulin, and told me that that was an insulin drip that was dripping into my IV because my body no longer produced it. Then after that, they had a nutritionist come in telling me the type of foods that I would have to eat and this and that. But ironically enough, the nutritionist that came in, she told me that I needed dairy and I needed meat. Mm-hmm. Now, as an older guy who has a profound understanding of diabetes, I know now that dairy and meat consumption are two things that cause diabetes. Now, with that being said, especially for African Americans or just Black people in general, because all across the planet, 90% of all melanated people are lactose intolerant. And when you are lactose intolerant, that means that your body can't tolerate something. But the doctor and the nutritionist, they told me that I did need it. Now, the thing is, I don't think that the nutritionist was trying to further my diabetes, but this is what she was taught. And then I found out that the American Diabetes Association is also in cahoots with the dairy industry. You know, like in the meat industry. So these things that cause the inflammation in your body that causes your pancreas to be inflamed to the point where it doesn't work, man, they are all in cahoots. Yeah, so this was the beginning up until some of the knowledge that I've obtained over the years. I'm sorry for ranting on.
No, you're not ranting. I mean,
okay.
What we were told, I mean, they keep revising, you know, our food maps and things of that sort because they're doing more studies and getting to the science of the foods that help us to perform the way that it needs to. And the foods like milk and dairy and red meat and meat in general, you know, it can cause inflammation. It does cause inflammation. And that's why there's so much more research about this diet now. You know, they would call it maybe the Mediterranean diet, which has more plants and there's some fish. And then now they're really saying a lot about plant-based dieting, which is not even calling it a diet. That's a lifestyle. Plants, which I've slowly gotten to where I eat mostly plants myself.
I love it. I'm so proud of you. That's progress, man. You know, after we have been programmed, mentally programmed to believe that these other things that we consume are food for us, hey, to go plant-based is not an easy thing. After a lifetime of being told that something that is dead is something that you should be putting into your body, into your living body. Yeah, and humans, we produce carbon dioxide. Plants produce oxygen. Oxygen is one of the essentials that all human beings need. Any living thing needs in order to be alive. That is not a plant. You need oxygen. Without it, we die. So I like to eat food that has oxygen. That's it.
Right.
I eat oxygen. Yeah.
I always say this thing, and it's silly, and I make my friends laugh when I say this, but drinking fresh juice, when I drink celery and beet, I juice it myself, apple and ginger, it feels like all my cells in my body when I drink it are like happy.
They are. Oh, snap. I'm sorry. Your body begins to tingle. It's a tingling sensation. It's like, yo, what's going on? It's like somebody like stroking your insides, making you feel like just super great. Like, wow, this is really dope. It's like you feel your body like it tingles off of these things, off of these plants, off of this energy that you're putting inside it because it's happy.
Yeah.
Your body is like, yes, just as you said, it's happy.
It's electric.
Absolutely.
It's electric. So you're plant-based right now. I see you smoking a plant.
I'm smoking a plant. This is actually marijuana. And I'm in Illinois where marijuana consumption is legal for recreational use. So it's a blessing. I am good friends with this dude by the name of Abdul Bowman, who is the son of the late great ancestor Dr. Sadie. And I ordered a gang of herbs from him direct. And I asked him about marijuana consumption. I know about the medicinal use that the government is now saying is medicinal, which has always been, because marijuana only became illegal in 1936. And it was due to this senator down in Louisiana named Anslinger, who was a racist and who did not like to see interracial couples. He did not like to see white women manifesting with black men or Mexican men. So what he did was he made propaganda to say that marijuana was the devil's harvest and it was evil and it made black men rape white women, which was all false. Marijuana and hemp is something that has been around since the dawn of time. It's what Aboriginal Americans smoked through their peace pipes. And also, going back to Dr. Sadie's son, he said that his father said he would never give up God's herb. That's how he spoke of marijuana. And this man healed several. And he lived to be in his 80s, and he smoked every day.
Wow. Once again, another history lesson. I did not know that. So But marijuana was made illegal just to get back that free labor that they lost during slavery. You know, free labor. Like if you can't lock a person up for being Latino or Latina or black, but you can lock them up for a product. So if the product is the marijuana, or even like they did the same thing to the Chinaman when he came over here and was building the railroads. They did a lot of opium because this was their thing of choice over in China. So they made opium as well as marijuana illegal because of the poor whites that were worried about black men taking their women into jobs that were available here in America. Because, see, the black people in America, we were supposed to be the labor force. We were the labor portion of America. The poor whites, they were supposed to be the overseers. And then the wealthier whites, they're the ones that made the fortunes from slave labor.
So once slavery, quote unquote, ended, although it never did, because the 13th Amendment states that no man is destined to slavery or involuntary servitude unless duly convicted of a crime. So if I make you a criminal, then you are a slave. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see that movie, The 13th?
I did see it. And my brother, the late, great Keyshia Harris, was really good friends with Michelle Alexander. And I got to meet her a while back when she wrote her book, The New Jim Crow.
Wow. You have a wealth of knowledge. I'm learning a lot just by.
Oh, it's all good. I love knowledge and wisdom, man, because I don't have kids, but my wisdom and the knowledge that I have possessed over the years, as long as I share it, and then the people that I share with others, I'll live forever.
Amen. I feel
Amen.
you. I used to say church.
Church. The reason I used to say church is that is acknowledgement of the body being the temple of God. Church is not a place. Church is you, and God is within. Because one thing that was written amongst many of the temples in ancient Kemet, as well as here in the Americas, was man, know thyself. To know thyself is to know the God force that dwells within you. So with that being said, the Creator is the Most High. But best believe that when the Creator created you, there was a piece of the Creator instilled in you. So now it's a matter of what you're going to do with it. Are you going to create, or are you going to sit around and be bored?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And so I want to transition in to that wisdom when it comes to diabetes. And when did you started to apply that to your health?
Okay, so I began to apply. So early on when I was first diagnosed, man, I had friends that came around telling me I need to go vegan, I need to take these herbs and this and that. But due to the fact that I was only 14 and my life was saved in the hospital, and the doctors told me that I needed to eat these certain foods, I listened to them over what my friends who had the knowledge was trying to tell me. You know, I put the doctors first, and that's something that occurs. And one thing that I learned about the medical industry is for years that all of the drugs and the diagnosis and things of that nature was based off studies that were done on the anatomy of the majority of the Americans, which were people that were not my ethnicity. So the same thing for a person who doesn't have the same DNA as I have, that it takes to heal them may not be the same thing to heal me. So it was just a lot of, misinformation. So with the misinformation, I was consumed in it. So I continued to eat meat. I continued to eat dairy. I was still drinking alcohol, but I was not very keen on checking my blood sugar as much as I do now, because I really didn't understand the importance of it. Even though, because at that time they told me that being diagnosed with diabetes, I could, if I didn't take care of myself, I could die at 30. They told me that. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking like, well, shit, if I'm going to die at 30, I'm going to just live my life. Fuck it. You know what I'm saying? That's how I was thinking. But after like I passed out a couple times from like low blood sugars, from being drunk the night before, forgetting that I took my insulin, not checking my blood sugar, taking the insulin again, like I was tweaking. So after almost losing my life a couple more times, I was like, look, I don't need to do this anymore. I gave up drinking 10 years ago. I gave up pork in 1991. This was before I was diagnosed with diabetes. I gave up beef in 1996, 4 years after I was diagnosed with diabetes. Then I gave up chicken and turkey in 2008, which was 16 years after I was diagnosed with diabetes. And then I gave up fish and sea animals. I gave that up in 2016. But prior to 2016, even when I was eating fish, I may have only eaten it maybe once a week. It was an occasional thing, mainly salmon. And at one point I was eating tilapia and catfish because I didn't understand that they were predators and, acidic and things of that nature. But the more information I got, the easier it was for me to look at it like this. I looked at, hey, if I make this choice, I could die sooner. if I make this choice, I could live longer. And then I thought about what's my favorite thing in life. My favorite thing in life is actually living. So in order to live, I chose the side that made me say, hey, I could live longer. Because I understand that in life, every choice you make comes with one or two results. One of the results is consequence. The other result is reward. So I make decisions based upon receiving reward because I don't like dealing with consequences.
I like that. Wow, that's a really good way to put it, especially to speaking to the youth.
Oh, yeah.
And make your choices based upon two things, thinking about the consequence and the reward. That's a way to simplify something for someone who's diagnosed at a young age.
Absolutely.
At 15 to 25 mark is rough.
Absolutely, because see, with consequence, the consequence for not taking care of yourself with diabetes, you can be sexually impotent, you can lose your eyesight, you can lose your kidneys, your liver, it's so many, you can have heart disease. It's so many side effects from not taking care of diabetes that at the end result of these side effects are ultimately one thing, which is death.
Yeah.
And I really like being alive. I don't fear death, but I know I'm not ready to go.
No.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to hear, and I'm happy to hear sharing the wisdom in your thought pattern, because I feel like a lot of the gains that we make in life, they happen with your thought pattern and how you
Absolutely.
And your perspective. Then your habits follow, but it's first in the thought pattern.
Absolutely.
You take action.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way that you think.
Thank you so much. Well, the thing is, I lost my father when I was 8 months. I lost my mother when I was 12. I lost a host of aunts and uncles and family members, as well as friends growing up in the environment that I grew in. There were like 16 guys from my neighborhood that were killed by the time I was 18. So with that being said, a lot of the worst things that can happen in life, I've experienced. So, man, I remain positive because I don't think things can get much worse than the things that I experienced. So with that being said, anything that happens that's under those things, they're minimal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're from Chicago, Chi-Town.
Absolutely. Nonfiction.
In reading your bio,
Mm-hmm.
you've done a lot in your community.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Into establish Performance School of the Arts.
Oh, yes. So I helped open up the first open enrollment arts high school in the history of Chicago. So there are like charter schools in Chicago, as well as magnet schools that center around the arts. But prior to 2016, there was never a school in this city that had an open enrollment policy on students entering an arts-centered program. And the reason that I helped and how I helped was I met with the principal of the school. She came to see a performance that I did at this spot called a Promontory in Hyde Park. And she was amazed by, in between every song that I did, I was speaking of political, economic, social, and educational issues that our people are being faced with in the city. And with that being said, at the end of the show, she was backstage because she knew the promoter and she was there with one of the groups. And when she saw me, she was like, hey, I need you. I need you on my team. I thought that she was trying to make me down and she was just being straightforward. I'm like, damn, you need me on your team? Like, whoa. She was like, no, I'm the principal of Diet. Have you heard of Diet? I said, yeah, I'm familiar with Diet. She was like, I really need you. I need your help. So she told me this. We began to talk on the phone and she told me exactly what she needed. So at the time, the school only had like 20 students enrolled. This was like in February when we met. when we first met, but then I came on board in March, which was the next month. We took a meeting. And then with that being said, she told me that there were only 20 students enrolled, and if they didn't reach the amount for the enrollment, that, you know, the program may not have went through. So at that time, you know, they had billboards up in the city and this and that, but everybody wasn't gravitating to the idea. The way that the school came about was, it was a school that had been around for quite some time in Chicago, but it was on the verge of being closed, just like many of the schools throughout the Black and Latino communities were shut down in the city, which has led to the escalated violence in the city. But there was a brother by the name of G2 and Coco. They're like political and, like, you know, activists in the community. They like camped outside. They was like, y'all are not closing this school. They were on the front line fighting for the school. And then they came with the idea of wanting to make it a STEM school. And the principal was like, man, we need to make it an arts high school. It's like she just wanted them to believe in her. And she found me. What I did was, from March to August, I took the enrollment of the school from 20 students to, I believe it was 170, maybe 180 kids enrolled by August, with over 400 kids on a waiting list to get in, because the school was only taking freshmen because it was starting a new beginning, a new chapter. And I came in, I did all the marketing. I went to all the community organizations. I went to churches. I went to elementary schools, and I got some of my friends that have made it like very successful in the arts to do like drops for the school, and then I edited it and turned it into commercials. And we ran ads on Instagram and Facebook, and we filled the school up. And now today the school is a level 1 neighborhood school, which is the top of the line. It has I believe it's a 93% freshman on track rate and I think it's a 96% attendance rate. At one point the school was doing so well. Well, it's doing so well now, but when the principal that I helped open it with, when she was still the principal, they were going to get the inspector general to come inspect her in the school to see how they were getting all these black kids to come to school. They just couldn't believe it. This is how successful the school was, you know, or is. And now the principal, she did so good, she was hired by another company. Her name is Beulah McLeod, by the way. She was hired by another company, and now she teaches principals all across the United States on how to do what she did at Diet. When Obama was in office, he sent for her, had her go to the White House to explain how was she doing these successful things. Because at the time, she was at another school called Michelle Clark. So, man, it was just a rewarding experience to be a part of that and to be part of opening an institution that is now a staple in the community.
Yes, and doing so well. That's amazing. That's just a testament to when you create something and it's a foundation for kids to feel empowered, inspired, hopeful, and giving them a chance, you know? Absolutely.
Because I think about growing up in the black community with, you know, my sister, who was a phenomenal lady, the late, great Cleo Harris. She worked for the IRS. She made a stable living. She went to a HBCU, Jackson State University. She, man, she had a formula for success that worked. She went to college. She majored in computer science. She worked for the city. Then she went on to work for the IRS. She made a wonderful living, and she was able to help my upbringing and be, you know, wonderful as well. And as well as the likes of my brother, the late, great Keyshia Harris. He went to school. He got a degree. He came back. He worked in mental health. We did a historic thing at the Chicago State University, where working alongside him with a program that he started called Timbo, teaching and educating men of black origin, and him being the head of the African American Male Resource Center. In 6 years, we were able to take the black male graduation percentage from 4% to 24%, while having the highest African-American male student retention rate in the whole state of Illinois, right here in Chicago. So I had some profound, like, powerful people in front of me to show me the way.
You sure did. I'm just thinking, as you're sharing with me, and I didn't know all this stuff about you, just thinking about your story, and from actually being pronounced, you know, the deceased, and then coming back, it's like God has had his hand on you the whole time.
Absolutely.
And then kept you with the right people. Like, though you did not have, you lost your mom at an early age, and your father, you know, as a baby.
Yeah.
But still, look at you today, and then giving back to your community the way that you are, you know. And it's not over. It's a it's a testament to what anybody could do. But even as someone with diabetes, that's not a limitation. You can still have dreams, pursue them, and make them happen and manifest them.
Oh, absolutely you can, man. Diabetes, you know, just the way that it's marketed. People say you're suffering, this and that. They try to put you in a state of fear, when actually, if you have diabetes, it puts you in a position where it kind of like, if you enjoy being alive, it puts you in a place where you have to make sound decisions. Like, I made a sound decision 10 years ago, a decade ago. I gave up alcohol, you know, because I understood the high levels of sugar, although vodka has a low level of sugar, this and that, but just the acidic compound of alcohol and what it does to the brain and to the mind. I like to have a sound mind. I know that people for years, they always said that marijuana kill your brain cells and this and that. Well, I've made history more times than one. I've done things that have never been done before in life, and I smoke marijuana, and I'm very creative. All my paperwork is in point. I'm the owner of a few different businesses. I helped open a school. I came back to do Chicago State's commencement address for their 150th year anniversary, 20 years after I dropped out of Chicago State, and I smoke marijuana. I've lectured at colleges, and I smoke marijuana, and I don't have a college degree.
It's not necessary to be of service and to make a mark in this world.
Absolutely. But I've been a fake on and off vegan since 2008, because like in that period, like maybe 2 of those years I didn't eat fish at all. Then I went back to it, like, oh, I want some salmon. But I gave up shellfish completely, because that's some of the worst stuff you can put in the human body.
I haven't there yet, but I know shrimp.
Oh man, ooh, that's so much acid. Like, the thing is, when they tell you that you are what you eat, sometimes people have shitty attitudes. That's because shrimp, lobster, and crab, they all eat shit. That's what they eat, and then we eat that, and then, you know, sometimes we might feel a little shitty.
Right.
We ate some shit. I don't eat shit.
So at that point, when anybody's coming with that type of attitude, like, you ate some shrimp.
Yeah, or you ate something dead. Because you take in the energy of this dead animal, the suffering that they were feeling when they were being killed. All that energy never dies. It's only transferred. Right. The energy transfers to you. Like, just imagine living in a community where, well, I don't have to imagine, and you probably don't either, but a honey bun or flaming hots with cheese and meat and candy and like quarter waters or 25-cent juices and shit, that was breakfast. So now, and in your body, all of that turns into acid. The food that you eat either turns into alkaline or acidic, and that's all acid. Acid on the brain is acidic, which causes stress, which causes uncontrollable emotions, which causes senses of rage, which causes the inability to retain information. And then they want to talk about test scores in the black schools when, man, anytime when you're living in an impoverished community where people are dealing with social, educational, and political deprivation, as well as economic exploitation, there's going to be high crime. You're thinking about water, like lead in the pipes in the schools. And my freshman year in high school, they were removing asbestos out of the walls and out of the floors. This is known to cause cancer. They were doing that while we were in school. They didn't say, hey, y'all got to go to another school your first year. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot going on. So, man, it's acid, acidic, man. Like, acid is like the cause of so much, like, just disease as well as destruction, you know? So I stand clear of it. You know, I only like to put living things into my body because this is my temple. And I feel as if I put something into the temple that God made that is acidic or destructive to it. I feel like I'm not in tune, or am I being, and I would say I am not being constructive in my relationship with God by doing so.
I feel that.
Yeah.
And you have transitioned to your own line of foods, right? When you started
Yes. So I know that you also said, what type of foods do I eat? So there's a list that can be Googled. It's just, you Google Dr. Sebi, S-B-I-E, alkaline foods. And when you do that, everything on that list, that's what I consume. I eat kale, of course. You know, kale is like the go-to now. I eat parsley. I eat cilantro. I eat all kind of greens, like collard greens. I love mustard greens. I love turnip greens. I love squash, mushrooms. I love mushrooms. Dr. Sebi said you can eat all mushrooms except for shiitake. Those are the ones he didn't like. He said that they were acidic. But also, I love bell peppers, onions, all colors, chickpeas. I love chickpeas so much because you can actually buy chickpea flour, and you can add whatever seasoning and spices that you want to it, and you add a little spring water to it, and you can make chickpea take on the flavor of almost anything.
Anything.
Yeah, I even make sushi out of watermelon. Like, you can take watermelon, slice it real thin, like how salmon is in the sushi, and you add a little sea salt as well as cayenne. I like the cayenne because I like mine a bit spicy. And then you use a little grapeseed oil and like a little liquid smoke, and then you put it in the oven for 2 hours at 180 degrees. And when you take it out, man, you're going to be like, wow, I cannot believe this tastes like smoked salmon. It's crazy.
Wow. So you take watermelon in the oven for 2 hours? This the way that you...
Sea salt, cayenne pepper, grapeseed oil, and liquid smoke. You slice it, you put it on like a Pyrex glass dish, and you put it in the oven for 2 hours, and you take it out. And if you get you some nori is like the seaweed that they use in sushi. You use a little wild rice. Because that's the rice that Dr. Sebi said eat. He said it's the only rice that's not processed.
I eat that.
Yeah, you use wild rice, get you a little avocado, cut you a little scallion, get you some ginger, pickled ginger, a little cucumber, and you can roll it up and you'll have sushi at home with no fish in it. And like with my food line, yes, I have ism cakes. It's a vegan dessert. It is a vegan dessert. It is low glycemic, and it is dairy free. I'll show you what it looks like. It's a little mini cheesecake. Right now, here in Chicago, I'm being sold at Whole Foods and a few other local restaurants, such as, see, it's a cheesecake the size of a cupcake. And it's only 200 calories and only 8 to 10 grams of sugar. And right now I'm being sold at Can't Believe It's Not Me, Flaves. I'm even being sold out of a rib joint downtown called Windy City Ribs. They carry my desserts in a rib joint, and they sell out every week. I'm being sold at Lighthouse Grill, which is one of my premier founding accounts that I started off in. Like all these black-owned businesses. My Peace of Mind over in Inglewood, which is the community that I first sold my dessert in, at a restaurant that's no longer there, but it was called Dream Cafe. A good friend of mine by the name of Howard Bailey, Howie, he allowed me to sell my dessert in his restaurant, and we began to take off in 2016. And then shortly after that, man, we began to expand throughout the city. And, man, it's been going really, really well.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I feel like if you're going to tell people not to do something or something is bad for them, then give them a replacement. And that's all that I did. I gave them a replacement with something that is a favorite all throughout America, but now you can have it with no cheese in it, no dairy.
That sounds delicious.
Say it again.
I tried a vegan, it's called a vegan cheesecake, and I tried it thinking about your cake because I asked you about it a couple years ago, and I said,
I'm going to sing you some.
Please.
I'm going to sing you some. Yes.
Like, I've been wanting these cakes, and I tried one at a Whole Foods. It's a private, like a independent company. They got a cashew, like some pecans on top. But I really want to try yours. So yes, please do send me some.
Hey, you know what? I just shipped my first time ever the other day, and it was through the guy that you and I met through. He called me from his current state and say, man, gee, my mama, man, she really want to try them cheesecakes. And woo. So I went online, I ordered the ice, I got the box, and I shipped her a few, and she loved them because his mom also has diabetes. Shout out to Cousin Bang.
Yeah, shout out to Bang. Wow. Yes, so I get some cakes.
Yeah, they coming.
Yep. So you have an album.
Yes.
Coming out 2020.
Yes, I do. Executive produced by the great hip-hop pioneer by the name of NoID.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm so excited about this album because NoID was like the first guy that was like really in the industry that I met as a kid when I wanted to be in the industry. You know, he mentored Kanye as well as myself and others on like how to navigate through the business. And now as a super grown ass man to be back in the company of a mentor and a brother, it's a beautiful thing. And we have made some incredible music together. We have Raekwon from the Wu-Tang Clan. Shout out to the Wu-Tang Clan, one of my favorite rap groups of all time. And Raekwon just happened to be my favorite member of one of my favorite groups of all time. And now I have a record with him. Also, Wiz Khalifa, he's on the project as well. BJ the Chicago Kid, one of my favorite singers, he's on my project. Man, it's really, really amazing. I got like young producers. I got my man Chris Muhammad. I got my man Excel, who produced Follow God for Kanye. He's one of the producers on there. Young dude by the name of Quincy Farmer. Another, my engineer, Zoe, and Bravo, and all the people that have aided and assisted me in my righteous endeavor to bring a quality project. I'm very excited about it. It's called The Book of Saint-Ism, and it's coming soon.
Yes. Oh, congratulations. Yes. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. I can tell you one of the raps from it if you want to hear it.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so, and I talked about my diabetes. I said, government block cheese, baby. Diabetic disease, baby. 2 parents dead, raised by siblings in the G's, baby. Eating flaming hots with cheese and meat. So they say we sing crazy. Never had no tennis in my head. Trying to get cream, baby. If you ain't seen the cluck, but your upper cluck, then you ain't seen crazy. If they ain't climb a pole to hook your cable up, that mean your fiends lazy. Lost plenty friends by summer's end. At the age of teenagers, never had a pet tea. Mine always felt weed major. Hit racing with the boom. Shout out to my plug, gave me room. Made me some moves. Hit my man with a zone. Old starter kid, nigga, it's no long. Gone, race to the throne, take it to the dome. Go ahead, take it to the dome. Answer the phone. Trust me, I'm gonna put you on. When I call, just answer the phone. Gone, ups and downs, trying to come up for breath. Trying to get down, there was nothing left. Trying to eat now, there was nothing healthy. My niggas was a shooter, but nothing like Steph. Scared of anorexic, better shooting weapons. Met his daddy left him. Mama with the reverend, screaming heaven help him. Pray for his protection, thank God I went to sessions, thank God I got blessed in. Now I had lost my life, but wouldn't let it leave me. I lost my nigga Yusef doing the peace treaty. The downfall of a hustler is when he get greedy. We put that work out on the streets just to feed the needy. Who am I? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I talk about it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, baby. We here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna cop that when it comes out. I know exactly how you feel right now too, because you know, I took time out really to get myself right, for myself, get my health right, and I'm so excited that I'm back in the studio and I'm actually working on something for our diabetes community.
I love it. I love it.
Great.
Yes, ma'am. Power to the people. All praises to the Creator.
Amen.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Thank God.
To collab with you, so I'm gonna reach out.
Count me in.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a phone call and an email away.
I know. Thank you so much, DL. I really appreciate you sharing your time, sharing your wisdom, sharing your heart.
Yes.
I really appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you. You know, one thing that I say, I've often been asked, people say, what inspires you? Well, I'm simply inspired by being an inspiration. Yeah.
By being of service too. And that's really
Yes, absolutely.
And here at the Diabetes Empowerment Summit too. So there's so many gems that you drop, and I know people are going to get so much inspiration, education from everything that you share with us today. So,
man, I am truly honored.
Thank you. So
thank you.
Out for GLC's album. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
If you're in Chicago, shop them at Whole Foods. And there's some as well. And you have a website, right, where they can buy. You have a T-shirt on. I want to talk about your T-shirt.
Oh, man, you want to see my T-shirt? Okay, so this is my T-shirt. My T-shirt is the 5 Ps. The 5 Ps of success. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. T-shirts will be available on my website, glctheism.com. Later on today, maybe around 8 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Yeah.
Right. Wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. And if you want some ism is just simply inspiring self-motivation. That's what ism means. And with that being said, if you want some ism, go ahead and follow him at GLC THEISM. And for ism cakes, it's ISMCAKES. Ism cakes. And then for the hold on one second. Yeah. Little motion, yeah. And also for the clothing line, you can get materialism. So it's at Get Materialism.
At Get Materialism for the clothing line. So that's
because it's just ism more material, you know.
Right. I love it. Thank you so much again. I really appreciate you. And
thank you.
Thank you for sharing your time, your wisdom, and I know that people are going to walk away with some great stuff. So thank you.
Power to the people.
All right. For those of you watching, thank you. And I know there is much more in store for you guys. Stay tuned.
There it is.